Hey, folks, welcome back to Rugby ATL. This is Chris in Central Pennsylvania. My special guest today is Rowan Gouws, who's from South Africa, and he's joined us here as a player with Rugby Atlanta. What was it like? Like you said, you signed, you're supposed to come last year, but you didn't make it to the squad till this year. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Before I came last, before I was supposed to come last year, I was over in New Zealand playing Mitre 10. Um, at the end of the season, I went back to South Africa, and then I just had to go see a doc, and he told me that I've injured my knee, had an ACL, so I immediately had to go for surgery. And then obviously I had a discussion with Coach Scott, because at that time I thought my knee will be okay for the season, and then we had some bad news. So luckily, Coach Scott said it's all good. Just rehab, and then we'll get things back on track for this year. So yeah, I'm very, very glad to be here. So it's actually just good to get back into rugby and stuff. I've been out for 2 weeks now because of a concussion.
Yeah.
So my head, I'm all cleared now. So that's good. And then I feel good. It's just good back playing some rugby again. And then obviously I just want to be more consistent in terms of playing every weekend. So that's good.
Great to see you with Rugby Atlanta. And one would have to, if you're an objective observer, say that Rugby ATL is pretty deep at the scrum half position. You guys look pretty good. You got a good setup there, a good mix of players that are talented.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good having the other scrum halves here, pushing each other, and then also learning from one another. So that's great. And then just testing our skills. It's always good to have a bit of competition among all the players. It just wants you to get your level up. So it's good. Yeah.
So I'd have to say that for the Saffers who are with Rugby ATL, you probably have an advantage over a lot of these guys, guys from Northwest and from Gauteng and such. Because looking over your bio, you have got a lot of time in KZN. You're originally from KwaZulu, and you went to school there. You played for the Sharks there. So I'm guessing that humidity in Atlanta is no big deal for you. You're accustomed to that Durban humidity.
Yeah. It's actually very similar to Durban in terms of humidity and stuff. So I'm a bit used to it now. And also, I was in Singapore for 6 months, and also a very humid place. People say it gets a bit hot, it gets way hotter here. So I'm waiting for the heat to actually come through.
Oh, it does. It does. Just give it time.
Yeah. So we'll see when it comes, eh?
No, but it's interesting. You've played in South Africa. You just mentioned Malaysia. You played in New Zealand as well, and now you're playing in the U.S. Is it been when you leave South Africa? Any culture shock? Obviously, you said Singapore. I think you said Malaysia. Obviously, you may be some culture shock there. I suspect even a bit in New Zealand, and definitely some culture shock in the U.S. Is any of that true, or did you just like fit right in everywhere you went?
Not really, eh? Everywhere I went, everybody was very welcoming. Had a good culture at every team I've been. So yeah, not really, eh? I'd understand maybe in certain places people find it difficult, but obviously you need to make the best of where you go, eh?
What's been your most exciting rugby experience thus far? I mean, any particular game stand out, or playing in a particular location has been something that you really, really enjoyed?
Um, well, that's a pretty good question. I must say, with the Mitre 10 season, playing in Dunedin under the stadium, under the roof, um, very quick pace. If you play there, you'll know it's dry conditions, and you'll see a good game of rugby. Um, uh, yeah, there's no real standout moment for me at the moment. Yeah.
Well, it's not a lot of South Africans to get to play in the Mitre 10. That's kind of unusual. Folks making their way over there. What were any other South Africans around you, or were you the lone guy there?
Yeah. So how it came across is we had the global rapid rugby competition where we played against the Western Force. The owner of the Western Force started a competition. So we were based in Singapore, and the coaches that we had there was actually from New Zealand, from Otago. So after that competition, they asked me to go over to Otago, and I was happy to go. And then I had a lock mate that also came with me, so he played with me in Singapore, and then also went over. So yeah.
And so you finally got the chance to get to play for Rugby Atlanta this year. What's it like been playing for the Rattlers? It's been a fascinating season so far, and kind of a little rocky start, but not really a poor start. But then just gangbusters for like 6 games in a row. A tough loss this past weekend in New York and Long Island against Rugby United New York. But it would be hard to say that the Rattlers have been anything except interesting this season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's our second season, and then I don't think we might be seen as the underdogs, but personally, as my experience, just we've got a great coaching staff, and then also just the amount of detail we put into our work and the prep for our games it's at a very high standard, if I can say it like that. So that's great, and it just motivates and pushes a person to work harder, And also, it's a great bunch of guys that we have here. Everybody's just on we sticking to our plan, so that's good.
Well, you have quite an international squad there with Rugby Atlanta too. I mean, you got South Africans, you got Kiwis, you got Americans, you got people from all over. It's one of the more what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say diverse or international, but certainly one of the more interesting mixes of players from all over the world. So you've got to meld all these guys together. Looks like it's going pretty well so far.
Yeah, absolutely. You just said there's a lot of players from all over, and that's the amazing thing about rugby, because you get to a point, or you get to a place, and then you actually have so many countries coming together, and also creating your own culture within the different cultures. It's just good to see, and getting to know or learn each other. So yeah, that's great.
Now, you also played recently in the Bermuda Tens, which is a bit of a different game. In my last interview, I was talking to Connor about playing sevens. He's kind of a big guy. You don't look at someone like that and go, he plays sevens, but he did play sevens for Arkansas State. Now, sevens, okay, that's a track meet. 15, okay, that's a lot of phases. And then tens, that's kind of somewhere in between, really, not just numerically. It's a game that's got elements of both, and you got to play both games, sevens and 15s. And what was it like, and how did you wind up playing in the Bermuda Tens?
The Bermuda Tens, I actually know one of the organizers, which is he's my agent. So he asked me if I was interested in playing it, and I said, yeah, I definitely want to give it a try. And it's definitely something between sevens and 15. People think there's a lot of space, but there isn't actually. So that's where you have to build a bit of phases, but it's at the same time, the physicality and also the speed is at quite a high level. So yeah, it was good. It was a good experience, Also, sticking to a system and structure is very important.
Well, you're still a relatively young guy in the game, even though you've got a lot of experience on your belt, playing all over the planet and playing Curry Cup, playing in Mitre 10, playing Major League Rugby. So you've got a lot of experience. Not quite a gray beard yet, but still kind of a young guy. But in that Bermuda Tens, there were a lot of big names there. I mean, you had Dan Norton from England playing there. Cecil Africa was there. The list goes on and on of a lot of really well-known rugby players. Was that an interesting experience for you to play with some of these, I don't want to say giants of the game, but well-known players from 15s and sevens?
Yeah, absolutely. It was good to see in terms of there were a lot of sevens players, and you thought, okay, they only run, but actually the physicality they brought was also a good thing to see, So yeah, it was great seeing how they play and actually playing against them, and the amount of skills they have. Yeah, it was good. It was amazing actually.
No, I can imagine. A little disappointing though. I was hoping to go to Bermuda Sevens or 10, excuse me, tens. Force a habit there, sevens. Bermuda Tens.
Yeah.
I was hoping to go to the tens, but with all the travel restrictions and everything, it turned out to be a little bit frustrating. So I passed on it this year. But will you do it again if the opportunity comes up?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it will become quite a big attraction, especially of hearing how they want to do the competition. So yeah, the more involvement, the more player attraction there is, the bigger it will come.
Well,
So
Rowan, I
that's
want to
good.
ask you
Yeah.
a final question here before we wrap up, and that's that a couple weeks ago you took a knock there and went out with concussion protocol, and we haven't seen you in a pitch. How you feeling? Are you ready to come back now? We're going to see you back in the game soon.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully this weekend, we'll just get the all clear. But otherwise, I've been doing well. I don't have any more symptoms, so I'm really happy about that. Yeah,
Yeah, no concussion, not a pleasant experience, but playing with Rugby Atlanta,
yeah,
it seems like a pleasant experience. You guys are having a great season.
yeah. Absolutely, we are. So no, I'm looking forward to the next few games, and yeah, just trying to secure our top position or just for playoffs. So that would be great.
That would be awesome. So best of luck the rest of the season, Rowan. It's a pleasure to get a chance to chat with you here and discuss a little bit about your background and your experience at rugby. And I'm glad to hear that you're coming back from that concussion. It'll be good to see you back on the pitch. So bye, donkey, for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris, for having me. Really enjoyed it.